So I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about this building abilities, and that's that whole last bit in your book. And let me see if we know what page this starts on. It looks like it starts on, ooh, it is long, isn't it? So it starts on page 25, 26, around there. So what we did is, you just heard Sandy and Karen. I know he laughs every time I say it. I giggle too. You heard them tell you about all of the different rights, right? We went down the right to have the right to get a job, the right to manage your money, the right to decide where you live, those kind of things, right? What we did is we went and took each one of those rights, and we decided to give you guys some activities, some information, some resources. Maybe you have heard of them, maybe you haven't, and some steps if you're interested in learning more about those. So I'll do a very quick example since we don't have time to go really, really in depth. So let's see. This is one of my favorite ones. Right to decide your living arrangements. That's a very fancy way of saying what? Yeah, right to figure out where you want to live. Right? Do you guys have plans for where you want to live and what you want to do? And yeah?
I want to live out in the middle of the country.
You want to live out in the middle of the country? Yeah?
It's quiet.
Quiet? Yeah, my husband's the same way. He wants to have a lot of animals and all that.
It's pretty quiet out there, and I like it like that.
Yeah. That's perfect. And let's look at that. Let's see, what page is that on? It is on page 59. So it's the right to decide living arrangements, right to decide where you live. And if you're interested in learning more about this, we've come up with some activities, because there's certain things with this that we have to keep in mind, right? Here's a list of some activities. And I'll tell you the most important one when you're trying to decide where you live for a lot of people is what? Money, right? So I want to live in the palace with Prince William and Kate because it looks fabulous. Have you guys seen? She has like unlimited jewelry, unlimited shoes, this big closet. She has all the crowns and stuff. I want to live there. Am I going to be able to live there?
No.
Why not? Why can't I live there? Aside from the fact that people are evidently already living there. What else? Why can't I live there?
Because you don't have the right to just go into someone's house and fight their race.
That's true. I absolutely don't, but also I probably can't afford it, right? Right now I can't afford a giant castle. I would love one, but I can't afford a giant castle. So we talk about trying to figure out your budget. And your budget is the money that you have coming in. We call that income. And the money that you have to pay for bills, we call those expenses. And there's all different kinds of expenses. And we talk to you guys about how to learn more about creating a budget, because I really wish someone talked to me about this, because there were things that I didn't realize when I first moved out on my own. And I was 17 when I first moved out, because I went to college a little early. I moved into a house, and it was a 4-bedroom house with me and 9 of our friends. 9 people. We did this math. We're like, okay, it's $1,200 a month. If we get 10 people in there, it's $120. You can't beat that, right? But it didn't occur to me, I didn't realize, because my parents had been helping me forever, that there's lots of other things that I always spent money on that I didn't think about because my parents did, right? Let me tell you, I had no idea that you had to buy toilet paper. Like, I think I knew it, but I didn't realize that you had to buy toilet paper, because my mom and my dad just always bought it, and every time I went to the bathroom, whoop, there it was, right? And somehow magic toilet paper fairy came and put more toilet paper in the bathroom. I didn't have to worry about it. Or dish soap, laundry soap, all this stuff for cleaning, right? To be fair, when you live in a house with 9 other people, you don't really clean all that much. So it wasn't the cleanest place on the planet that I've ever lived. But I didn't think about that. What about, I realized, I said, okay, I know I have this much money that I get from my job. I know that I have to pay this much in my rent. I know that I have a car, so I have to pay for gas and insurance. And, if something happens to the car, I want to make sure that I can take care of it. But I also have to pay for cable, right? Or internet. Ooh, living without internet, that's not an option, right? So all of a sudden, cable and internet, it's like, okay, I got that. That's under control. I know exactly how much I have left over. And then I was like, wait a minute. Humans need to eat to live. So I guess I gotta find some money for food. So I set aside money for food. I was like, okay, I think I'm good. I think I got this under control. And then my friend said, oh, but yeah, every Thursday we go out for pizza, so don't forget about that. So I set aside money. I was like, okay, I got that. I set aside money for pizza. And then you start realizing all of these little things start coming down right before you know it. I did the math, and whew, my expenses were much higher than my income. I was spending more money than I had, and now as an adult, I said, okay, I have to make some decisions. So we talked to you guys about developing a budget, but it's also about finding, and what other things do we have to think about when we're looking for a place? What are some important things we're thinking about when we're looking for a place to live?
Safe environment.
Safe environment, absolutely. We don't want to go live somewhere that looks like it's falling apart.
Make sure that I check how much the rent costs, how much our house costs. They can make sure that amount for the house.
Absolutely, and sometimes, and let me tell you, right when you turn 18, very rarely do I see 18 to even 20, early 20-year-olds who can live by themselves. A lot of times you can get a roommate, right? But what does that mean? That means we need to pick someone that we can trust, right? So we have to make sure that someone that we can live well with, someone who keeps up their end and pays their end of the rent, right? Those kind of things. What else? How many of you guys here have jobs? Some of you guys do, right? And you're looking for jobs, and you know that, yeah. So when we're looking for a place to live, we might find this big, beautiful place, but it's 1,000 miles away from our job. And we don't want to do that, right? So there's a lot of things that you got to keep in mind when you're looking for a place. So maybe we need maybe we need help. Maybe, we don't want to live on the 6th floor that you have to walk up 6 floors, right? So there's a lot. So what we did was we put together some activities to help you guys if you're interested in learning more about finding a place to live. And we did the same thing for money, and I will tell you, a lot of these rights are kind of connected. So when we're making decisions about where to live, we also need to know about our money, right? Because that's a big piece of it. So we talk in this one about how to save money. That's a word I didn't learn until nearly my 30s. I didn't realize that you didn't have to spend every dollar that you got, because that's what I do. I had all my bills paid, and then I spent the rest of my money. I never saved, and it was terrible. And I always joke that they let me come up here and present to you guys about how to manage your money, and I just always giggle about it because I buy like 6 pairs of shoes every time we leave Tallahassee. But talking about managing your money, what are things that are important to you? We call them leisure, right? A couple of you guys play a bunch of video games, right? They're not free. Sometimes you got to pay monthly fees. Xbox Live has a fee too, right?
For my PS3 Live, I pay like $30 a month.
Yeah, $30 a month. You gotta keep that in mind, right? Because there are things that are important to you. So you might, if you really like that, you might have to say, okay, if I want to do that, then I need to make a compromise somewhere else. So maybe that means that I can't spend $300 on food this month, right? So we're going to so in this section, you guys can make a budget, and we give you guys some ideas on it. Let me see if we can find, do you guys know what page that's on, Karen? The budget page. Let me see. 73? And well, yeah, here it is. 73 talks about managing your money, and we even give you guys an example of some budget pages to work on, right? Identifying your budget, and these are really important. But also, if you want to learn more about driving, if you want, and what you can do with getting your driver's license, for those who want to learn more about the right to contract, those kind of things. We have lots of activities in here for you guys, but we really encourage you to talk to your circle of support, to talk to people you trust, and add stuff. And let me tell you, if it doesn't work the first time, you can always do it again. So I make a new budget every time anything changes, right? Maybe I get a raise, maybe my rent went up, right? So I go, okay, I need to look at my budget and maybe I need to change it, right? So there's lots of different activities in here for you guys.